this fluff. Y'all, I'm not feeling this hair today. You know, I'm not feeling it. But a bitch still is confident that she's looking fly as fuck right now, okay? Y'all, I'm having a real bad hair day. And it is just like, she's like, she ain't here for it today. Like, not today, bitch. Like, you should have let me air dry a little bit or something. Peace and blessings and manifestation, everybody. It's your girl, of course, Melissa Renee, and you are tuning in to Bella Minded, and this is another episode of Worry About Yourself. Now, for those of you who may not know about Sha'carri Richardson, I believe that's the young lady name. She's a track runner. I don't know, I'm not too sure of what she runs. But she was the young lady that earlier this year, she was disqualified, or she was suspended for 30 days from being in the Olympics because she tested positive for marijuana, and she had to sit out, and she has been able to reinstate back into the Olympics and run. And she was in a race, I think maybe a couple of days ago, if I'm not sure. It might be even longer than that by the time I post this. But she was in a track race and she came in 9th place. It was a young lady, I forget her name. She was from Jamaica, and she actually ran the race. So because of that, because I guess Sha'carri came out and she was like, I'm going to beat them, I'm going to whoop their behind, I'm going to, crush them, blah, blah, blah. And she came in 9th. It was a lot of talk about talking a lot of shit and not being able to back it up. How you going to talk shit about running and you need to back it up? You need to humble yourself. That was the talk. So in today's episode of Worry About Yourself, it got me to kind of thinking, I'm seeing all these people like, you can't be around here talking shit if you can't back it up. You can't be around here doing this if you can't back it up. And then it got me to kind of honestly thinking, right? Because I'm like, well, first of all, no one had a problem when she was saying she was going to do this and do that and do that. And, no one was saying, well, hold up. You need to humble yourself. I wouldn't be speaking so confidently if I was you. But it wasn't until she lost that people then started to kind of, I guess, set her in her place, or say, don't talk it if you can't back it up. So it got me into thinking about confidence, right? And, the first thing I want to do is I want to go into the definition of confidence. So the definition of confidence is, and I'm going to say it twice, okay? Is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, firm trust. So that someone may be you, that something may be your Bible. I'll read it again. Confidence is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, firm trust. That's confidence, right? So I think what is crazy to me is that it comes off like people want your confidence to be conditional, right? So I can be confident in myself as long as I can meet the expectations of me or anyone else. But let's say mostly everyone else, right? Because if Sha'carri's expectation of her was to, like, I just want to get back in this race, and everybody else's expectation was, for her to win the race or at least come in the top 5, and she didn't do it, then that means that she didn't exceed, or she didn't come to succeed in whatever expectations that other people put on herself. put on her, not herself, but put on her, right? So it got me to thinking that, is confidence conditional? You know, is confidence conditional? Is confidence based on you being able to meet an expectation or succeed in expectation, or, you know, go above and beyond expectation? Is that what confidence is? Because to tell somebody, don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk, or don't talk shit if you can't meet the expectation, to me is basically saying you can only be confident if you can meet expectations, or you can put your money where your mouth is, right? I started to realize that it seems like listening to people talk, people are putting expectations on your confidence, which makes it conditional, because it's only under the conditions that you can meet said expectation, you know, and if not, then you can't be confident in yourself, right? So it got me to thinking, like, does this hinder the confidence within ourselves when we associate confidence with expectations? Or, you know what I'm saying? When we conditionalize our confidence, does that hinder our own self-confidence? And I really do feel like it does, right? Because like I read before, and I said before, confidence is the feeling. It's not a show and prove. It is not based on anything but your feeling and your belief. It's not based on expectations. It's not based on any rules or requirements. It's based on your feeling, the way you feel about yourself in reference to self-confidence. So in a sense, technically, was Sha'carri wrong for saying she was going to beat them, she was going to do this, she was going to do that? Technically speaking, she was not wrong. That's how she felt. She believed that's what she was going to do. Whether she met those expectations or not, that is what she believed. So she's not wrong for believing that that's what she was going to do. You know what I'm saying? So when people come back and people say, well, you shouldn't speak that way if you don't know if you're going to do something or not, I feel like we play into our own insecurities when we do things like that, right? Because now you then start to have doubt. You then start to question yourself and your abilities. And you like, well, I mean, I don't want to say I'm going to beat them because I might not be them. No, that's not what confidence is. Confidence is your feeling and how you feel about yourself. So if I walk in and I say, oh, I'm going to kill this interview today, I'm going to knock their heads off in this interview. If that's the way I feel, that's the way I feel about myself. And if I go in that interview and the person who's interviewing me was like, she fucking sucked, that doesn't change my confidence in myself. That shouldn't change my confidence in myself. It kind of takes things away when you tell someone they shouldn't be confident in themselves unless they can meet certain expectations. Because I feel like in life, we then tend to do that to ourselves a lot of times. So when we should have confidence and feel like, yeah, you can do it, you are the best, it's like you then have this little doubt in the back of your head. It's like, but you might can't do it though, sis. But you might can't do it. And I feel like that plays in our it plays in our own self-confidence, and it plays into our insecurities as a person, because you're kind of self-doubting yourself a little bit, right? So let me tell y'all, I was seeing some people was like, well, you should be more humble. She should have humility. So I'm gonna read y'all the definitions, because I'm reading these definitions, you guys, because a lot of times we use words so freely, so loosely, And when I say loosely, means sometimes if we actually read the definition, we would see how loosely based the way we're using it, the context of how we're using it is so loosely based from the actual definition, right? So I'm gonna read y'all what humility means, right? Because I heard some people, she needs some humility. Humility, a modest or low view of one's own importance. I'll read that again. A modest or low view of one's own importance. I don't necessarily think I would want to have a low view of my own importance. I'm very important. You're very important. We are very important. I don't think it's a time where I want to feel that my importance is at any time low. Low, okay? Okay, humble. Having or showing a modest or a low estimate of one's own importance. So it's relatively the same thing. So the same thing as humility. So let's go to modest, because it keeps saying modest or low. Modest is unassuming or moderate in the estimation of one's abilities or achievement. Relatively moderate, limited, small. I don't know, y'all. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I say that because people talk about stuff about, oh, so modest, oh, modest. Like, it's really a good word. But if you, like I say, if you think about what the mean, like, that's why I say sometimes we use words in context that's loosely based, because it really ain't the gist of what the definition says if we're going to be using words. But I mean, it's all on context and, you know, how you use it, I guess. But I don't think first of all, unassuming. So let's say unassuming in the estimation of one's abilities or achievements. So if you use unassuming, it's like to say, well, I didn't know I was this important or this big deal. I can see that in the eyes of other people. So maybe so I can understand that definition in the sense of I'm important. I know I'm the shit. I know I'm important. I know I'm the best. I didn't know if you saw me that way. I don't really care if you see me that way. That's why I don't know, because I wasn't even thinking about, or I wasn't focusing on your perspective of me. I was more so in tune with how I felt about myself, right? So I really know how you felt about me, but you think I'm okay, that's cool. So I can understand somebody in the sense of unassuming. You know what I'm saying? Because just because I don't know what you think of me, I don't know how you view my importance. But I know it still can say I know what my importance is. Whether I know what yours is of me, I know how I feel of me. So I can get the unassuming aspect of it. I don't like the moderate, because it is still going back to saying, basically you have a low, or you don't have a high outlook of yourself, or you're not looking at yourself in that realm. And I feel like that's not really cool, because if we always talking about having high self-esteem, we always talking about vibrating higher, having high frequencies. How can you have high frequencies? How can you have high self-esteem if you are thinking low or moderate about your own importance and abilities and judgment of yourself? Like, that don't really coincide. So for people who are telling somebody, oh, you should have humility, you should be humble, why do I have to feel or view myself or think of myself on a low or moderate scale? Why do I have to do that if I think highly of myself? I don't have to do that. But I feel like this is the things that we've been conditioned to believe, that you, one, should think low or moderate of your own importance. How are you going to tell me to be humble and think low and moderate of my own importance, but then at the same time tell me I should have high self-esteem? I should think highly of myself. That's a contradiction. It does not make sense. Society puts a whole lot of stigma out there that really contradicts themselves if you sit and you think about it. So honestly, do I feel like she should humble herself or have some humility? Hell no. I feel like she should not think low or moderate of herself, even if she did lose. Has she left off that field and was sad and was crying and was like, I suck, then you would have had people like, well, don't say that. So on one hand, if Sha'carri never said, oh, I'm gonna beat him, I'm gonna do this, and had the confidence of believing in herself, that she felt like she was gonna beat these girls and she was gonna win, if she hadn't done that and she just simply ran the race and then she lost, and then she was like, oh, I lost, then people would be, oh girl, you can't be that way, you gotta have confidence, you gotta believe in yourself. Just because you lost this time don't mean that you can't win the next time. Like, that would have been the narrative, right? The conversation. But because she already had the confidence in herself, she already believed highly in herself, and she did not meet the expectation, now it's like, well, you need to humble yourself. You shouldn't have went out there thinking so highly of yourself. You shouldn't have went out there thinking you was going to beat them girls. You should have thought low and moderate about your importance and your abilities and your judgment. Now, maybe the fact that people had a certain expectation and she was saying she was going to do all these things, and they had just as much expectations of her, and because she didn't, they felt let down. Maybe they're projecting their own feelings about the situation onto her. So now they want to tell her, well, if you was humble, why? Because what? It would have seemed less embarrassing? Because at the end of the day, whether she spoke highly of herself or not, she still lost. And like I said, confidence is a feeling, it's a belief. And just because I lose does not mean that I have to lose my confidence and lose that feeling and the belief that I have in myself. Yes, that's one race. I lost it. What does that mean? That mean I can't win more races? So it's like, we cannot conditionalize confidence. We cannot conditionalize our own confidence. We cannot conditionalize other people's confidence. If she felt like she could beat them and she didn't beat them, it's not for anybody to then go back and say, oh, well, you should have thought less of yourself in the first place, because if you thought low of your importance in the first place, then you losing wouldn't have been so bad. I'm sure she still was going to feel like, damn, I lost regardless. You see what I'm saying? Regardless of the fact. And what does that change of her confidence? Like, if this is a feeling and a belief that I have, just because I lost the game does not mean that now my confidence has to go to not being so confident. Like, my confidence is not based on the conditions of if and when I can succeed or, meet an expectations. My confidence is unconditional, not conditional. It's unconditional, meaning regardless of if I meet expectations or don't, I still believe I have the abilities, or I still believe that I am of importance. I still believe that I have the abilities to still be a winner, to still win, to still push forward. My confidence shouldn't be conditioned on when I can meet an expectation, because What does that mean? Because we don't win everything all the time. We're not going to always be first place in everything. We're not. Sometimes we're going to be last place. But what? Does that mean that every time I'm in a position where I'm not winning, DJ Khaled, I can't then be confident then? I can't be confident in myself because I'm not winning anymore? I'm not coming in first place? I'm not exceeding or meeting the expectations of others? I can't be confident within myself? People have to understand the things that they're saying, the words that they're using in the context that they're using it and what that means. When you make confidence conditional, it's like you are feeding the fear of failure. Because now you're conditionalizing your confidence based on if you succeed something or if you fail something. So if you can't know for sure if you're going to succeed at something, then you can't fully embrace your confidence of feeling or trusting in yourself and your capabilities, because you got this little fear of failure in the back of you telling you gotta humble yourself. You gotta have some humility because you just might not win. And then what's that gonna look like if you don't win? I also feel like when you tell people to humble themselves, I feel like that's people's projection onto their own projection onto somebody else, because you're too scared to walk around and speak confidently of yourself because of your own fear of failure, because of your own feeling of shame and embarrassment if you do speak highly of yourself and you can't meet those expectations. Don't project what you have a fear of onto other people. Don't tell people how they should be and how they should feel about themselves because of your own fears and feelings of yourself. So if somebody wants to be confident in themselves, regardless if they're meeting expectations or not, that's their God-given right to feel however they feel. That's all I would say about worry about yourself. Worry about yourself, and when you so quick to tell somebody to humble themselves, and you're so quick to tell somebody to, have some humility, think about if you're telling them this because that's how you feel about yourself. Are you projecting onto somebody else? You tell somebody to humble themselves or have humility, you're basically tell somebody they should be looking at themselves in a moderate or low importance. That's all I have right now. Thank y'all for joining me. Please post your comments below. I mean, what do you feel? You know what I'm saying? Do you feel she was cocky? Give me your thoughts. And also, what can you learn from the situation? I'm going to leave y'all with that. Thank y'all for joining me for another episode of Worry About Yourself. You know what I'm saying? Peace, blessings, manifestation. Check y'all out next time.